Morning, guys. Today shouldn't be too long, but we want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we've done already. The first week of chemistry or the second week of school, our focus was on the subatomic particles, how many protons, neutrons, and electrons were in an atom. And then last week, our focus was on the structure of the periodic table. And so this week, we're going to kind of combine those two concepts so that we can learn how to draw a Bohr model of any atom in the first 18 of the periodic table, because that's really our focus. Now, notice this picture here doesn't exactly represent the entire periodic table, but it does represent the first 18 elements in a way that are easy to understand. So when we talk about what a Bohr model is, it's just a pictorial representation of what an atom is made of and where the parts of the atom are located. It places the electrons in clearly defined energy levels, which make it easy to determine the chemical nature of the atom and how it will react or bond with the other atoms. So you see there that picture is only one way. There's multiple ways to draw a Bohr model. We're not going to get as fancy as that picture there. We're going to try to simplify it just a little bit, especially because we have to do this digitally, and we can't sit down with pencil and paper in class and do these things. So again, this is just an example of one way that a Bohr model can be drawn. And if you look closely at it, there are certain things that you can look at to figure out what atom this model represents. Okay, so I want you to kind of think about that. Uh, what is it about the atom that could tell you exactly what element on the periodic table this one represents? So if you look at the protons or the number of protons that are in the picture, we can count them: one, two, three hidden back here, four, five, six, and seven. So this atom has seven protons. It also has one, two, three, four, five, six, seven electrons. So if you remember from our first week in chemistry, um, when we talked about ape man, A equals P equals E, if this model has seven protons and seven electrons in it, we can determine that the atomic number of this element is seven, therefore give us the name of the atom that it represents, which in this case is nitrogen. So here we're just going to go through the steps of how we're going to draw Bohr models in class and the expectations that I have of you to be able to draw them. We'll get into the specifics of different things as we move through the week. But today we're just going to try to keep it simple. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw sorry, the first thing we're going to do before drawing is we have to determine the number of subatomic particles that exist within the atom. So in this case, we're going to use an atom of lithium. So lithium is atomic number 3. And again, going back to the ape man strategy, if there are if the atomic number of lithium is 3, then that means that there are 3 protons and 3 electrons, right? And if we use the man part of 8 man, mass minus atomic number equals neutrons, we take this number down here, 6.9, round it to 7, and 7 minus 3 gives us 4. So we should be able to determine that lithium has 3 protons, 4 neutrons, and 3 electrons. So once you determine that, then it's time to draw it. Okay, so I'm going to go through the steps here, and then on the next slide, I will try to give you some instructions on how you need to draw it in a Google slide. So the first thing we're going to do is draw a text box for the nucleus so that you can fill in the numbers of protons and neutrons inside the nucleus. Then we're going to determine how many energy levels are necessary. And we'll talk about that here in just a second and go into more detail a little bit later in the week. And then we're going to place the electrons in the appropriate energy level. Okay. All right. So I'm going to kind of minimize this so you can actually watch me draw it. So the first thing you want to do is choose a text box and then just draw a text box here in the middle. And then as we determined, there are 3 protons and there are 4 neutrons in an atom of lithium. I like to kind of center everything in the middle, kind of bold it, make it a little easier to read. And then I kind of mess around and put some color in there and put a border around the text box so that it's easily defined. All right, so we've got the 3 protons and the 4 neutrons. So we're not drawing all of those circles like you saw in the first atom. And then after that, now we have to draw our energy levels. Okay, so again, we'll get into more specifics of this later, but in the first energy level, we can only hold 2 electrons. Now we have to put 3 around lithium, so I'll show you how we do that here in just a second. So in order to draw a energy level around the nucleus, you go up here to the shape tool and choose a circle. And then you're going to start it up here in the corner and then just draw the circle around the box like this. Okay, now it's immediately going to cover that up. So a couple of things we want to do. We want to change the fill, which is this paint can right here, to transparent so that you can see through the box. And we also want to give the circle some weight. So I usually like to choose 3. Okay. So now I've drawn my first energy level and I can put 2 electrons in that level. So I'm just going to draw, 2 small electrons, and it doesn't matter what color I choose. And once I've drawn 1 and I've got it highlighted here, I can just hit Control C for copy and Control V to copy another one. And then I can just click and drag these electrons and place them on the first energy level. Okay. So now I know I need another electron, so I can go ahead and hit Control V again to get me another out over here that I'm going to place on the next energy level. Okay, so again, we need 2 energy levels to handle all of the electrons because we can only fit 2 electrons in the first. So we go back to our shape tool and make another circle, and now we're going to make an even bigger circle around this one. So we start again in the upper left-hand corner, and then let it go. We can adjust it a little bit later. So we hit transparent again. So now I can kind of change the size of the circle a little bit. So it kind of looks even, depending on how particular you are. It just needs to be clear. So that looks pretty good. So now I can add weight to the line, back to 3 again. And now I can take my last electron and place it on the energy level. And I like to try to keep things in line, again, just for a neatness aspect of it. We don't like to just group all of the electrons all together in one little area. We like to space them out. Now, we don't need to know this right now for lithium, but you will need to know it later on. The second energy level can hold a total of 8 electrons around its rim. And then if we have to go to a third energy level, that one also can hold 8 electrons. Okay. So again, first energy level can only hold 2, and the second energy level can hold a total of 8, but we only need to put 1 in there because lithium only needs 3 electrons. Okay, so that's kind of a quick tutorial on how we're going to be drawing Bohr models. Always, you can always refer back to this video for that little tutorial to do that. And that's it. And then, like I said, as we move on through the rest of the week, um, we'll get a little bit more into the specifics of um, how the structure of these Bohr models help us determine the reactivity and bonding of these atoms with other atoms. Because this last energy level, the valence shell, or because this is a valence electron right here, it's the outermost level shell, that plays a very important role in how these elements bond with others. All right. Again, if you have any questions, make sure you email me or ask them in the Zoom meeting. Y'all have a great day. Bye.